Learn how to extract a collection of DOM nodes using the modern query selector method. In this example, we want to look at how we can use the QuerySelectorAll method to access specific items inside a node list using index notation. So before we do that, I want to just talk about the DOM itself, that the HTML DOM that we're talking about here, you can think of that DOM as a tree structure branching out from the top document down to every HTML tag on your page. So this is what I'm talking about. So if you look at your code, so you can see when you click this, so this seems like a branch of a tree. So you can see the way it is nested inside of each other. You can see. So it's just like a tree structure that is branching out from the top document down to every HTML tag on your page, which is what you can see here. Now, when you now use this QuerySelectorAll method, it's like you are harvesting a bundle of branches, and those branches are referred to as NodeList. So while it looks and acts almost identical to the way HTML collection works, a NodeList represents a collection of generic nodes. So nodes, which can include your element tag, text fragments, or comment, rather than strictly HTML element. So the example we're going to be looking at here is a very simple example. And in my HTML part section here, so I'm going to add 3 paragraphs here. And it's going to have a simple content like hello world, hello Canada, and let me say finally hello Norway. So these are the 3 paragraphs that I need inside my HTML part. So let's move on to the script tag. And inside the script tag, the first thing I want to do here is that I want to make a simple variable that will house all the p tags on the page after the query selector method has harvested. So I will go ahead and make the variable. I'll call it my NodeList. Actually, you can give it anything. You can give it any name. For example, now I can give it node. I can give it maybe collection, just anything. But for the sake of this example, I'll call it my NodeList like this. And then I will call on document.QuerySelectorAll. Now, if I hover on this thing, you can see that my editor is already suggesting it for me. And since it is query selector, that means it will select every instance of whatever I try to use it to select. So in this case, P, which is equivalent to the paragraph tags that I have on the page. But as we proceed, something funny is going to happen. You will expect that this query selector is supposed to just select all the P tags that I have inside this code output section. But query selector does not work that way. It will find every instance of P that it can find on this page, which means it will include the one I have in the footer. It will include the one I have in the header section. And to prove that to you, let's look at it and see what is going to happen shortly. So I'll go ahead and use document. I want to display the results now. Display the results. So I'll go ahead and call on document.getElementById method in order to display results. Demo.innerHTML equals to the inner HTML of the second paragraph is my NodeList 1.innerHTML. And now on the screen, you should see JavaScript, the inner HTML of the second paragraph is JavaScript interactive lessons follow on all platforms at Techie's Rain. Now, if you look at what we just have on the screen, let me explain it to you so that you understand what just happened. What we're trying to do is we're trying to use the query selector all methods to find every paragraph node on this document, that is on this page. And then we want to now use it to target the second item element by using a zero-based index. And you can see what I just did here. This is how you use bracket notation to access index value of an element. And then we want to now use that to read its text content to update another element on the page. We now say, okay, once you selected all the instance of P on the page, then select the node at the index position of 1 and then display the text content. Now, if you look at this part of my code, you can see that I have 3 paragraphs there, 1, 2, and 3. But since I'm using query selector all is not going to just pick these 3. It's going to scan the page and look for all instances of P that it can find. So if you start from here, it will pick this, it will pick this, it will pick these 3, and even pick this last one. And to prove to you that that is how this thing works, look at what we just got on the screen. Now you can see that any of this value is not here on the screen, and that is because when you are using index position, zero-based index position, counting usually starts from 0. Now we now say pick the one at the index position of 1, which means what JavaScript will do is that it will skip this because this is 0, then it will pick this, which is 1, and that is why you are seeing this on the screen. So if I want something like this, I will just increase the index position to 3, and then it will pick hello world. You can see it. So the value of the inner HTML of the second paragraph is hello world. If I want the next one, so it's just for me to change the index position. If I want the last one, you can see which is this one. And if I want the 5th one, it's just for me to change the indexed position, as you can see. So the document or query selector all method is what query the document tree. I'm talking about what I showed us earlier. So this is the document tree, and using our standard CSS selectors, so it will matches all the instances of P and then store them in a static node list. So now this my node list that you have here alongside this index selection is using a zero-based array indexing to now grab our target node from the collection of the node list that we have. So my node list 0, it will point to this, 1 will point to this, 2 will point to this, 3 will point to this, and so on and so forth. So the my node list dot inner HTML that we have here, what it does is that it just simply reads the text string that is safely tucked inside the second paragraph, and then it will then glue it onto the output sentence, and that is the reason why we are able to see this output on the screen. Here are a few key takeaways from what we have on the screen. Number 1, query selector all returns a node list which acts like an array-like collector of nodes. Number 2, items are selected using index bracket counters beginning at 0. As you can see, if I change this to 0, it will still work because counter starts from 0. And if I change it to any other number, as long as it's the valid number on the page, then it will still work.